Coming up, the Dodgers officially clinch a playoff spot for real this time, and Framber Valdez continues to dazzle for Houston. This is Locked On Game to Game MLB.
Every game, every team, every angle. Locked On Game to Game, your team every day.
We're going to start out with the Dodgers, who thought they had clinched a playoff spot on Sunday, but Major League Baseball said yesterday that they had overlooked a potential three-way tie for the NL West that could have bounced them. But no matter for that, because they won on Monday against the Diamondbacks and made it officially official. Locked On Dodgers and Locked On Diamondbacks break things down from both sides.
Ryan Nelson had a 5.43 ERA in AAA this year. After 2 starts in the big leagues, he has an ERA of 0. Unfortunately for him and his Diamondbacks teammates, he couldn't pitch the whole game. What's up? It's Jeff from Locked On Dodgers. The Dodgers didn't have an answer for Ryan Nelson through the first 6 innings, but then Kyle Nelson came in the 7th inning. They found the answer to that. Max Muncy doubled, JT got on a fielder's choice, and Chris Taylor walked to load the bases. Trace Thompson sac fly, and 2-run double by Cody Bellinger cleared the bases. Kyle Nelson takes the loss, wasting a great start by Ryan Nelson. And then Mookie Betts tacked on a 3-run homer in the 9th inning to give the Dodgers a 6-0 win. Good team win. Tyler Anderson was awesome again. Pitched 7 shutout innings, 2 strikeouts, 2 walks. It's like, kind of classic Tyler Anderson, except a couple more walks than we would have expected. Doesn't strike out a ton of guys, just he makes the pitches when he needs to. Tonight, it was getting ground balls when he needed. He had 3 double plays turned behind him, almost a 4th one. And each of the first 3 innings, first guy got out, second guy got on, third guy hit a ground ball. And 2 of those 3, they turned in the double play. So great game for Tyler Anderson, great game for the Dodgers. They clinched a postseason spot again for the 2nd in a row, and they reduced their magic number at NL West to 1. So check out Locked On Dodgers first thing in the morning for everything you need to know about this game.
The D-backs rookie pitcher Ryan Nelson had another fantastic start, this time against the juggernaut LA Dodgers, but the D-backs offense did not back him up as they got shut out 6-0. Miller Thomas of Locked On Diamondbacks here. Ryan Nelson has now set the D-backs franchise record by starting his career with 13 scoreless innings, and it's an active streak, so Zach Allen, Ryan Nelson might be on your heels, but the offense did not back up Ryan Nelson tonight as they were only able to muster up like 5 or 6 hits, and the bullpen was also very poor tonight as they have been for a lot of the second half. The other Nelson, Kyle Nelson, who's been one of the best D-backs relievers, arguably the best D-backs reliever this season, as soon as he came in, the Dodgers pummeled him, and he gave up 3 earned runs. Kenyon Middleton came in the 9th inning and gave up a 3-run shot to Mookie Betts. Offense not good, bullpen not good, but at least Ryan Nelson continues to impress. For more, check out the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast for more Diamondbacks news, coverage, and insight.
The Cubs don't have any playoff hopes, but it hasn't stopped them from playing spoiler as of late. They handed the Mets a loss on Monday that New York desperately needed to avoid. Locked On Cubs tells you how Chicago got it done.
Well, just another day at the office for the Cubs. Some big home runs from Rafael Ortega and Zach McKinstry leads the Cubs to a win over the Mets, who need to pretty much win as many games as they can now as they're in a fascinating race with the Atlanta Braves. The real story here for a future Cubs perspective is Javier Assad continues to kind of just grind through his starts. It's not the prettiest thing in the world. He doesn't miss a ton of bats, but the results are there, and you can't argue with results when you're going into the Big Apple against the Mets, having the best season they've had in years, and you find a way to shut them down to 1 earned run through 6 innings and set yourself up for a win. So credit to Assad, credit to Ortega and McKinstry, and another win for the Cubbies. Tomorrow it's going to be a little bit tougher as it's going to be Adrian Sampson versus Jacob deGrom.
Framber Valdez pitched his first career complete game shutout against the Tigers yesterday. That was more than good enough for his 24th straight quality start. Locked On Astros goes over another easy win for Houston.
24 straight quality starts for Framber Valdez. He did it again, and he did it in glamorous fashion. He didn't just go for the boring 6 innings. He went complete game shutout, 6 hits, 8 strikeouts, only 1 walk. It was brilliant. Dusty Baker trusted in his ace, and it was just awesome experience. And wait, what? Yeah, James Click, you're looking for a job possibly next year? Oh, okay. Well, you've been doing a great job. Why don't the Astros re-sign you? Oh, Dusty Baker. We don't know about Dusty Baker either. Oh, so we'll have to be talking about that on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast. The Astros offense exploded for 7 runs and just so much going on. Alvarez throwing people out of the plate, defensive gems everywhere, and a lot of hits with runners in scoring position. We'll talk about this and more on this edition of the Locked On Astros podcast.
Today's edition of Locked On Game to Game is brought to you by Built Bar, the best tasting protein bars on the market. They're all made with 100% real chocolate, but they're good for you as well because they're high in protein, but low in sugar and low in fat. They come in dozens of different flavors, and they all taste really great. If you head over to Built.com and you can use our promo code LOCKEDON15, it gets you 15% off of your order. Just put in that promo code LOCKEDON15 to get you 15% off of your order at Built.com. The Marlins played 8 runs in the 5th inning last night, and that was more than good enough to get a win over Texas. Locked On Rangers details what went wrong in Miami.
The Rangers snagged a rare 1-run win and showed off a fantastic offensive game from Marcus Semien and got John Gray back and healthy while splitting a doubleheader in Miami. I'm Bryce Patrick, host of the Locked On Rangers podcast. This was the dumbest scheduled game of the season because of all the machinations of the lockout. The Rangers had to come from Arlington to play this doubleheader in Miami, then head back, but the Rangers did the most to make the most of it. After a win, a 3-2 win, a decent performance from Glenn Otto tied his season-long outing of 6 innings. Solid outing from him. Multi-hit game from Nathaniel Lowe. Of course, what else do you expect? Josh Young with a big clutch RBI double in the 3-2 win. Bullpen held strong for the final 3 innings. The Rangers were off to a great start in this one. Only 1 unearned run by John Gray in his first back. Did not have a rehab start, so he only had a shorter outing. 3 2/3 innings, 1 hit, no walks, 5 strikeouts. Offense in baseball that still managed to put up an 8 spot. Horrible 5th inning of work. This was just a really bad game for AJ Alexy. He only got 1 out, and that was finish off that 4th inning. Then once he came out for that 5th inning, he allowed 3 walks and 1 hit and 4 runs, all of which were earned. Brett Martin came in, just could not close it out. He could not get out of that rough inning, an inning and 2/3. 5 runs, 4 of those were earned. He was in a rough way as well, but the Rangers nearly came back. A 3-hit game from Marcus Semien, who finished a double shy of the cycle. Some really big home runs. Josh Young hit a massive shot in the 5th inning. Marcus Semien hit his massive shot as well. Corey Seager got his 30th home run of the season. Not a bad way to split a doubleheader if they only had gotten out of that stupid 5th inning. For more, check out the Locked On Rangers podcast.
Mike Trout has now hit a week's worth of home runs. He went yard in his 7th straight game last night. That wasn't good enough, though, to get a win for LA. The Guardians pad their division lead with the victory. Locked On Angels and Locked On Guardians go over everything for you post-game.
Mike Trout extends his home run streak to 7 games. Matt Duffy hits his first as an Angel, and both managers get tossed? What's going on, everybody? It's John Frisch, one half of Locked On Angels, and while the Halos dropped this game 5-4 to the Guardians, Mike Trout was able to extend his franchise-leading home run streak to 7 games in a row. He is 1 shy of the Major League record and could tie that in tomorrow's game. Matt Duffy hit his first home run as an Angel this season, and it was a 2-run shot, as was Mike Trout's. So the Angels got back into this game after Reed Detmers was not quite his sharp self. He went 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, and only 3 Ks. Not his best outing. Aaron Loop gave up the go-ahead run, and the Guardians were able to close this one out. But the weirdest thing was Terry Francona was arguing a call at the plate with Ron Kolpa. Kolpa tossed him. Then Ryan Tepera wanted warm-up tosses. Kolpa wouldn't give it to him, so Nevin argued with him. He tossed Nevin. There was like a whole 7-minute streak of no pitch being thrown and both managers getting tossed. Welcome to the Ump Show. We cannot wait for robot umpires here at Locked On Angels. Mike and I are going to break it down for you, so please join us at Locked On Angels on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts.
So if you check out Locked On Guardians tonight, I completely do the entire Tito bit. I'm kidding. I keep the colorful metaphors off the show. I do not get into what was a very weird game with the multiple ejections. And then after, people talking about karma, the umpire taking a ball to the mask with 2 outs in the ninth. It's not karma. It meant that Clase had to sit there and wait. I would have rather just him finish the inning and the win be in the books. But the win ended up getting there. The White Sox not playing. The Twins not playing. Cleveland is up 3 on the White Sox and 5 on the Twins. And because there is no tiebreaker game this year, Cleveland has almost, I think, needs one more win against both to win win the series for the year against those teams, which gives them the tiebreaker. So not only is it a 3-game win, but it's almost like 3.5, because those teams have to beat the Guardians to win the division. Otherwise, if it's a tie, Cleveland wins. So Cleveland won the game. Tito lost his mind. Nevin lost his mind. The manager, the umpire, currently might be unconscious somewhere. Go check it out and hear me get in depth about this game and more on today's Locked On Guardians.
The Giants have also been enjoying their role of playing spoiler to potential playoff teams as they got a 3-2 win over Atlanta on Monday. Locked On Giants tells us how their team took down the defending champs.
The Giants didn't get back into the Bay Area until about 5 a.m. last night, coming home from Chicago, but they didn't look tired tonight, facing the defending champion Braves, a really good team, and they beat them. Ben Kaspick with the Locked On Giants podcast. Alex Cobb just continues his resurgence since having an ERA in the mid-6s early in the season. Peripherals were good. Trust the peripherals because they proved to be more indicative of his talent, and he has showed that time and time again here. He is just having a really strong season and 7 shutout innings tonight. But then things got a little weird. In the 8th, Gabe Kapler went to Zach Littell, and Littell allowed the first 4 base runners to reach, then got the 5th hitter to hit into a double play. But still, 2 runs had scored, and the tying run was on third base. Lefty Matt Olson coming up, and you're going to a left-handed reliever. Makes sense, right? Well, not to Zach Littell, who handed the ball kind of aggressively to Kapler and then ran his mouth a little bit, and Kapler looked beside himself like, what the heck are you doing here? And once he got back into the dugout, he took Littell into the tunnel and gave him a talking to. So some drama there. I thought Kapler handled it really well. It was a foolish showing by Zach Littell, who I thought got more rope in that inning than he ultimately deserved. But Scott Alexander came in, did his job. He's been a really nice addition to this bullpen in the brief time that he's been here. He ended up closing out the game in the 9th. So we'll break all of this down on tomorrow's Locked On Giants, talk about Wilmer Flores' extension a little more as well, where it's your team every day.
That's all for today on Locked On Game to Game. Thank you for making Locked On your first listen every single weekday. Make sure you go and check out your team's Locked On podcast and subscribe to Locked On MLB on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Kainani Stevens. This has been Locked On Game to Game.